Hello, Koen. Hello, everyone. We are having this interview, this telephone interview with Koen Block, the executive director of the EATG. And I wanted to ask you, Koen, about, well, first of all, how are you?
I'm fine, yes, thank you. Coming back from holiday, so that's always a good moment to ask people how they are because they get new energy and
Yes, indeed. Koen, there has been so much going on with the ATG recently. There has been a huge increase in projects, and also some projects have ended and new ones have started. Where do you see where are we in the ATG right now? What's your general impression?
well, my general impression is that EATG is becoming more and more recognized as a community expert on community involvement in clinical research, which I think is a very good evolution. We are indeed being asked more and more to join projects and to provide community perspectives within clinical scientific projects, but also on a policy level, and that's what we have been doing for a very long time, and it's nice to see that there is more recognition of that role. Plus, there is also more, I think, support also from important stakeholders like European Commission to increase that role of community, and we have a long history there, and what I can see is that the partners working with us do appreciate really the work we do with that perspective. So I'm happy to see that this is increasing actually year by year,
Hmm.
and we've also been working a lot on making sure that a community role is getting more respected. And it was, for example, within the context of EUPATI, that is specifically training patients more on involvement in clinical research, but also in different discussions we have been highlighting the fact that community involvement should be meaningful involvement and not just ticking the box
Hmm.
involvement just because you need a community partner within a project. And also there I do see some progress, which I'm happy to see as well.
Hmm. So if you look at all this large selection of projects that we are currently involved in, which one do you think poses the biggest challenge, and which is that you personally find the most interesting?
Well, I'm personally more involved in one that I actually also find rather interesting, which is the Emerge project, which is a project that is developing an app that allows patients to better monitor their own health. And apps are definitely not new, and even health apps are not new. But what I find interesting in this project is that there is really more of a direct link between the hospital, the doctor, the database on people's health, and the app, of course, in a very secured way,
Hmm.
which is more than what many of the apps provide, where you need to fill in your data yourself. So here you could really see also statistics on how did things evolve. So what we want to see is how is this app, first of all, helping to improve health outcomes, but also the way people feel. And for me, the really interesting part is actually that we're doing the project within Western European countries, but also, for example, one Central European one, Croatia,
Hmm.
where the apps would also be tested within a context where there's literally a bigger distance between the hospital and the patients, and to see how can actually a digital tool reduce the distance in a certain way between both, so that there is a better connection between the healthcare providers and the patient. And if this project could show that that helps, then an app is no longer this thing of to be used only by the happy few and in a perfect context, but also it might provide some answers on problems that are in countries with less capacity, even human capacity to provide care. So that would be a very positive outcome, I think, of the project.
Right.
If that can be shown. I think the challenging ones are definitely the ones looking at, for example, the cure, where we know that there are some considerations to be made on how is this research going to be performed, what's the
Right.
role of community there as well, what are the risks, how do you need to prepare your community in order to create cure trials. But I think that makes it interesting as well from a point of view of the organization to get involved in these projects.
Sure. Now, also this development and this expansion in the number of projects and our portfolios involves a lot bigger workload. How do you think we can cope with this in the most optimum way? Do you plan any changes, any development within the organization?
Well, we at the moment have two calls actually open to increase staff capacity. But additionally to that, I would really like to see even more involvement of our membership in really implementing activities, actions that are to be done, and getting more of a coordinating role by the current staff members instead of really performing everything themselves, because then it just becomes too time consuming and too much. If we want to do that, I do personally believe that we need to invest in some capacity building, because not only the number of projects and actions has increased, but also the scope of our activities. We have it's no longer HIV alone, it's HIV, it's co-infections, it's comorbidities, and we need more people also knowing well about all these topics that we're covering, and you have quite some innovative elements in this, like vaccine development, like the cure. So you need to constantly educate your members, and I think EATG was a very nice project that supports this kind of capacity building. But still, also as an organization, we need to invest in it. But we always continue working as a community-driven, patient-driven organization, and I think it's important to keep our membership in the loop, and to actually also allow them to get involved.
Right, right. Well, onwards and upwards. Thank you, Koen. Thank you very much for your time. I think it's been tremendously interesting and very challenging times ahead, but it's also quite exciting. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.